So in 1988, 89, I'm selling computers, and I'm selling something called Samsung computers and laptops. And I think they also had hard drives. So I did a study, and what I found was there was an article in the Harvard Business Review, one of my favorite magazines, 1988, talking about Samsung. And it said, if you're an up-and-comer at this company, this South Korean company, and you're this up-and-coming engineer, and you're looking to sink your teeth into something, they're going to give you a project that has no acceptance. One story in here is a clip, and when Stuart passes out his, I'll be sure we get you signed in on this sheet. Can you pass it to him? When Stuart emails the notes from this with the news, it'll include a link to my show notes, and you'll have all these links. And there's a quote in there where this guy came out of the motor division of Samsung, where he had, I think it was 4 lines running, tens of thousands of motors produced, and they put him on microwave ovens. And they were shipping like 6 ovens a week. And he said, I got so excited. He said, I understood if Samsung wanted me on this project, it had somewhere to go. It was going to be a big deal. And if you didn't know, Samsung went on to capture almost all the microwave market. And their first one melted down several times when they're building it.
It's like their Samsung Note, it melted down.
More than the Note on their
planes.
phones too, wasn't it?
On planes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been watching Samsung since 1988, and when they came out with, I'm not sure which model it is, I've got the S9. I think maybe the S8 also has the Bixby button.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Trust me.
Yeah. So when they had this button on there, it's like, what is this thing? And as some of you know, Tom and I got into development for Alexa a couple years ago. And the only reason Tom and I, my partner, do Alexa only until Bixby is because it gives us a robust programming environment that we can do anything we want with Alexa. I was at a workshop this morning at 9 a.m. this morning in Canton, Ohio for the Industrial Internet of Things. Okay? Alexa's a great fit. Bixby will be a great fit. So this button lets you do all kinds of stuff. Following in the footsteps of my granddaughter, who's 13, I said, what's that on the back of your phone? It's called what, a pop socket?
Pop socket.
And I said, okay, how's that work? And with the S8 and the S9, and my son had an S7, with Edge technology, you can have a menu over here on the side of the screen, and so I didn't want to cover that with a cover. But then I got a pop socket holder for the dash, and it sits right there. As I'm driving down the road, I'm talking to Bixby all the time. I'm asking him or her to do whatever. And the reason we got excited about Bixby is because it's also programmable. Now, to my knowledge, they only use JavaScript at this moment. We've got skills for Alexa that we've written in Python, PHP, yeah, PHP, and Node.js. So what happened here?
It's out there. Neil Sales by Brand.
So this is a chart, you probably can't see it back there, Stuart, but 10 years ago, think about this. This little blue dot down here is Samsung smartphones 10 years ago. The fourth quarter of 09, Samsung had a whopping 3.3%. I can imagine the engineers getting excited about this, like, oh my God, we got 3% of this. Just think where we're going, okay? Hopefully everybody in the room knows where we're going with this. We're going to the third quarter of this year. That little blue dot has turned into 21% of the smartphone sales worldwide. Back here, I didn't point out the fact that one of these charts, I think it's the gray one, was a company you might have heard of, BlackBerry. I think it was what, RIM Technology? They had like 38%, can I go back? Yeah.
Research in motion.
Yes, Canadian firm.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, to my knowledge, they still had invented the very best tablet ever, the BlackBerry Playbook. I was a developer for it It was amazing. It allowed you to use a mouse and a keyboard via Bluetooth. Can't do that with your Apple. Amazing. And HTC, I had an Evo. Anybody remember the Evo? I got so excited about that thing. It had a kickstand. But there's Samsung, all the way from 3 to over 21%, almost twice as much market share as Apple. And I was an Apple fan. I was on the waiting list in 1984. Some of you weren't even born yet. But I was waiting on my Macintosh when it came out. I had the iPhone 4, 5, and 6, and nothing today rivals what Microsoft or what Samsung has done. But let's get into Bixby. I was pleasantly surprised by what we call the IDE, the
Integrated Development Environment.
Thank you. Integrated?
Yes.
Okay. So here's what it looks like. And somebody was mentioning, I think maybe it was Bradley a moment ago on the video. They've come a long way, but their software is only at version 2. So those of us that have been around the block a time or two, we understand that that's a warning. So I would not bet the farm today on Bixby development, because there's some rough edges. I'm going to point them out here in a minute. But I was going to show you this on my favorite device. Some of you up front will be able to read that says Samsung. This is a Chrome.
Hey, that laptop that we were using up until we switched over, it's a Samsung.
Oh, is it? Yours?
FYI.
Oh, cool. This is the Chromebook. They call it the Chrome 3. They just come out with the Chrome 4, which I expect to get. But the great thing about this is I've got Linux on it. I run it in something called Crouton, not containers if anybody's doing Chromebook and doing Linux. And it lets me run about 90% of the Android apps. All 3 on this little guy. I paid $187 for it. But with the new update about a week or so ago with Bixby, which I complained nonstop to Roger and other guys at Viv Labs.
Why don't you talk about Roger, who he is and all that?
Roger Kibbe is kind of in my words, he's the Guy Kawasaki of Samsung. Again, the youth in the room won't know who Guy Kawasaki is. He was the software evangelist for the Macintosh. It was his job when the Mac came out to convince developers, please, where's Cameron at? Please develop something for the Mac. He's written a lot of great books. One of them is The Macintosh Way, Selling the Dream. Roger's out there trying to get people like us to develop for the Bixby. But anyhow, there's the IDE, and here's a little icon for it.
But your point was that it does not run on the Linux?
They broke the Linux version. I beat him up month after month after month, gotta have it on Linux, because my MacBook Pro had died.
Mhm.
But I ended up putting in a solid state drive and a new battery, and now it's working, and so I was able to salvage this. They've got very good documentation. I was very pleasantly surprised. Little search tool up there. For some reason, my screen is dead, and so I can't draw neat stuff on the screen. But pleasantly surprised by the documentation. If you're a developer and you're not totally like I am against Microsoft, you probably use something called GitHub. Great repository for Bixby stuff, and it's under Bixby developers is the account inside GitHub.
So that's a sample collection of capsules? That you
Yes,
made?
what they've done is they hired some people to write sample capsules. In the Alexa world, we call them skills. You want Alexa to do something, you write a skill. In the Bixby world, you want it to do something, you write a capsule. I don't know why. Do you know why, Stuart?
No,
Or Paul?
and in Google, obviously they call them actions, so,
Actions.
you know, we do have to deal with that, and that's an issue for developers that are cross-platform is, you know, they have, call them skills, and in marketing also is an issue because you're like, well, oh, try my skill, it's on Google, well, no, then it's an action, you know, now it's a capsule.
Yes.
So, yeah, it is what it is, you know,
Yep.
I don't know.
And they're using, again, a tool that I love to hate, Stack Overflow. I'm too old to figure out how this works, I hate it. I grew up with PHP, that's how far back I go with PHP.
So when you say they use it, who's they and what did they use it
When
for?
you click on certain things inside the Samsung documentation, like I need some
Okay,
help,
gotcha.
they're gonna take you to Stack Overflow, and what you'll see is it's been tagged Bixby.
Gotcha.
So as people were saying, I ran into these problems in Bixby, they're gonna take you right to Stack Overflow, where you can interact with people, which is a very nice touch.
Okay.
And again, many, if not most developers like and appreciate it.
Stack Overflow, yeah.
Stack Overflow. And of course, guess what? They got a YouTube channel, right? Where all this stuff that I don't know that they're purposely avoiding Twitch, which you may know is now owned by Amazon. But I haven't seen as much stuff on Twitch as I've seen on YouTube. So they got a channel.
Yeah, but Google owns YouTube.
Yeah.
So what's,
Yeah. So, one of the things that we do if you're a developer, we do something called the Hello World app. Okay. What does it take in whatever your favorite language is, which probably mine to this day is still Pascal. I wrote a lot of code in Pascal, made a lot of money off Pascal. But, so there's a YouTube video, and I took a snapshot of one of the pictures of, let's call it the object model, or what they call the Bixby flow. But here's where one of the disconnects is. By the way, if you're not on a Mac, you may not know that the top part of the screen is what's called the Finder. It's how you find stuff on a Macintosh. One of the things I love about Bixby is all your code, like I've got, or here you can see a folder called Bixby Workspace. All my capsules are in that folder, and then I happen to have one opened up here called Playground Hello World. And I took the E out of hello because I wasn't sure if it was going to conflict with anything that Samsung had done. So I didn't take a chance. And then what's great about this is sometimes you just want to drop into JavaScript and do something. And this bottom window is that. Any Mac people in here? And do you use TextMate? Ever use TextMate? I use it. I love it, and this is TextMate running. But I can get in here and do stuff, and the IDE notices, the development environment notices I changed something out at, quote, the operating level or the command line. I did stuff to it, and it instantly updates. But when they did this recent release, okay. Well, let me just. There we go. Let's actually get in. And when I updated, like I said, it broke my Linux version. On the Mac version, when I go and actually do examples now, they won't compile. How fun is that? Not much. Yep. Okay. So let's close this. It works if you're going to write a new capsule, you want to go and tell it you want to write a new capsule. Then you get to name it, and they recommend Playground. And we'll call it Alexa Meetup. So it starts out by populating a number of files in the directory. And we can actually open these folders up and see what is put into these folders. Well, stuff that's happened since they did the update is it won't work without at least one image in the asset folder. But they don't give you one. So you can drag an image in here, but that doesn't solve it because the program doesn't know that you drug the thing in there. So the way that I was actually able to get a skill to work
Why do you suppose that is? Do you suppose they just always had images in that folder?
No, they did not. It wasn't, here's what happened.
How could they make such a gaffe, though?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. It's like it needs an image, and you put an image in there, and it's like,
Well,
well, you don't have
here's
to.
what happened. Everything has become depreciated. And so,
You mean deprecate?
deprecated thing.
Yeah, okay.
Deprecate. What's happened is they have all these samples. Let me open this document. Out on GitHub, for example. And you will notice over here how old these directories are. See, it says 7 days there. Yeah. I had downloaded these before they updated the IDE, and everything I had downloaded would not compile because they've come up with some new rules like everybody. I was an iOS developer. I would build an iPhone app. I'd go in after the fact to fix something, update it, and they'd say, well, guess what? We got new rules since you wrote this program. And so I couldn't recompile without going in and fixing everything that was deprecated. Same thing happened here. So the way to make my first Bixby skill, I took the video, which you have a link to, the Hello World video. I took it and followed it religiously. In fact, I reached out to Jonathan Pan, the guy who created the video, and said, look at this error, what happened? He goes, well, that's another story. But what I had to do to get my first capsule to work is I had to take one of these that they fixed. I think I took HTTP API calls. I took that they've now fixed and brought it down to my computer. Then I went in and did the modeling required in the Hello World video to actually make my Hello World, because they've got stuff in these files that are now required that were not 8 days ago. So, you know, I don't want to go too long here, but what I'm suggesting, what I did is I downloaded this whole zip file, right, of all these examples, put it on my hard drive, then I opened it up, and then I went through the example in the IDE. See here, I just created a brand new capsule, and already I've got errors. Okay, in the capsule, I've got warnings, errors, and deprecations that I have to fix. Because in my mind, they rushed this out 8 days ago, and now somebody's gonna have to go back in and clean this up to say, here's everything we broke that hasn't been incorporated. And I think it'll only be a matter of a couple days.
How often do they have releases to IDE?
I haven't paid that close attention. I'd say probably once a month, maybe every other month, from what I've seen from a distance. Because I'm not earning any money from Bixby capsules at this point, so I haven't paid. I'm waiting, the bottom line is I'm waiting for version 3. You know, once version 3 comes out, then I think I can invest time and money and energy in it. Till then, I'm just playing around with it.
So, we know Alexa runs on AWS. What does
That's
Bixby
part
run?
of it.
What does Bixby run on? AWS?
No, it runs on your phone. It runs on,
You mean the cloud?
So.
so with Alexa,
Let's see what it says.
yeah, but with Alexa, okay, you go into AWS, or in some cases maybe a VS, you go in and you create stuff so that when you take a device and say, do something, it goes to the cloud and says, has anybody taught you how to do that? Okay, with Bixby, you build a program, much like you would do in AWS, except you're building it on your local machine, and you've got a simulator here that you can test it, and at some point you move that capsule to your phone.
So it's an Android app?
In essence, yeah.
Okay. It's
Yeah.
just an Android app, okay.
Well, a very sophisticated one, with some low-level ability to do things. So that's one of the differences. But again, the only reason I care about it is because it's JavaScript. So I can make it do anything I want. And I've got examples how to reach out to different end
So it does all the voice recognition and cognition and all that stuff on the phone?
I don't know at this point when it actually goes to their cloud to do that distinction.
It's definitely doing the cloud.
I didn't
Well,
know
there
that
is
was on
some-
On their servers.
There's some things done locally, you know, I think more than a wake word, like on this, it's high Bixby.
Mhm.
Patrick?
If it's on your phone, does that mean that each individual end user has to download it to their phone?
They're running a contest now, we were talking about maybe before the meeting started. They're running this contest where they want you to build capsules. Have you supported, submitted one, Cameron?
I haven't submitted one, no.
Okay, so you submit them to the marketplace, and the way the marketplace works, and here's I think a glitch. If I invoke Bixby by voice, I can't get to the marketplace. I have to hit the button. I have to unlock my phone. I have to hit the button, the Bixby button, and then I can swipe, and I get into the marketplace. So if Cameron had a capsule, it might be in here. Once the capsule's in here, one of the companies we saw in Chattanooga down at Bradley's event, by the way, PS on Bradley's event, I think he puts on the best show in the industry, in probably most any industry I've been involved with, and I've done trade shows for 30 plus years. That facility in Chattanooga is exceptional. It's all built in, one venue, it's just a great spot. But we saw this thing called Audio Burst, and I'm talking to them, I don't know if you guys remember, I'm saying, you know, this is gonna be cool, you know, I can do it with my podcast. And they said, well, no, not really, it's for radio and TV. I said, you're kidding. Well, 6 months later, they got excited about podcasts, and now it's about the only thing they talk about. But what I can do now is I can say, hi Bixby, ask Audio Burst to search for Stuart Crane. Wasn't able to do that.
I'm not in
I am, but sometimes it doesn't hear me completely. Hi Bixby, ask Audio Burst, I'm sorry, that's an Alexa thing.
there. No, what?
It's with,
Oh, with?
yeah.
Uh-oh.
How do that? So that's what we need to know is how do you invoke Bixby capsules and how do they differ from Alexa or Google?
I don't think they differ that much. You've still got this concept of an invocation, and just like you build a number of utterances, you know, in a skill, if you're a developer, you know, you have to say, well, what if they ask it this way? What if they ask it that way? Same thing here. You build
Yeah,
that.
but forget the skill developer
Yeah.
and the development side. If I'm just a Bixby user and I want to, you know, launch a Bixby capsule, how am I instructed to do that?
Hi Bixby. With Audio Burst, search for Jeff Ski Kinsey. Says you need to unlock your device.
Does anybody say that in normal English language?
No.
Uh-huh.
Not at all.
So that's
So
odd.
Audio Burst, this Israeli company, has a capsule where you can use their tool to do searches for now. Okay, it found several podcasts where I've been mentioned, 3 different podcasts.
Hey, Ski Man, with Alexa Meetup,